Hey,
channel to get back here.
Why would it come?
Ladies and gentlemen, we're getting ready to start our workshop. City Attorney, are you ready? Ready, City Attorney?
Yes, sir.
City Manager?
Yes.
City Clerk?
Yes, sir.
Commissioner Hill?
Yes.
Commissioner Mervin?
Yes.
Thank you. I call this workshop, Commissioner Walker is here. I call this workshop of the City Commission of the City of Pahokee, Tuesday, March the 27th, to order at 6:05 p.m. Will you please stand for the invocation led by Minister Hill, Minister Harris, followed by the Pledge of Allegiance.
Good afternoon. Let us all bow our head for a word of prayer. Father, in the name of Jesus, as we gather together in this occasion, we ask you to bless every soul, heart, and man. Father God, thou knowest all things. You said where there is unity, there is strength. Father God, help us to be unified on one accord, oh God. We can't do nothing without the leading and guide of your Holy Spirit. But we ask you to intervene in this service on today, on this occasion, oh God, that you will bless everyone that in position, oh God. Lead them and guide them in the way that you will have them to go, in the way that you will have them to be. In Jesus' name we do pray. Amen.
Amen.
Roll call, Madam Clerk.
Mayor Bab,
Present.
Vice Mayor Holmes, Commissioner Hill,
Present.
Commissioner Mervin,
Present.
Commissioner Walker, Present. City Manager,
Here.
City Attorney,
Present.
Deputy Friedman,
Here.
City Clerk, present.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Thank you, Commissioners. Thank you, staff. And thank each of you all for being here tonight to participate in our workshop. Normally, our workshop is held from 6 p.m. to 6:30. It gives us an opportunity to discuss our agenda so we can be better prepared and run our regular meeting more efficiently. At this time, I turn this portion over to our city manager, who will guide us in our discussion of our agenda items.
Thank you, Mayor. Good evening, Commission. Residents of Pahokee, thank you for joining us tonight. I'm going to say we have a fairly light agenda. Of course, we have some prerequisites we need to get out the way tonight. One being the swearing in of commissioners. Beyond that, our regular agenda is we have two resolutions. Resolution 2018-13. This is a Thank you. Resolution 2018-13, a resolution that provides for the intent to withdraw from Public Risk Management of Florida. PRM is our liability insurance pool that we are in as a city for all our liability insurance. This year, I want to have an opportunity to research and explore other opportunities that may possibly give us a more efficient rate, as you could say, cheaper for the city of Pahokee. And so in doing that, we have to first advise PRM of our intent to research other opportunities for liability insurance. So that is Resolution 2018-13. Resolution 2018-14 is a resolution canceling the awarding of the resurfacing bid to Weekly. That is for Glade Citizens Villa. We are canceling that award because we are moving the entire project up under another funding stream for that community, which will include not only resurfacing, but also stormwater development as well. So in order to do that with FDOT, we have to first cancel that agreement and then go out for bid for a collective project of stormwater and resurfacing. So this is just a formality. We've already indicated that to FDOT. They're in approval with this process of canceling that award bid to Weekly. And that is Resolution 2018-14. Beyond that, Mayor, Commission, we have Lawn of the Month. We have the Mayor Babs Gold Hammer and Nail Award. I'm excited about those two awards. And, excuse me, thank you. We have an addition, 2018-15. That is the intent to award bid to Everglades Reserve Holdings. That is concerning the marina. We're excited to be coming to a first phase of closure with that, and we can move to the second phase of awarding that bid to a reputable management company. So back on the agenda, we have the report of the city attorney, and he'll be discussing one particular property here in the city of Pahokee. And of course, you have my report, the mayor's report. So very light agenda. If it pleases the commission at this time, let me give you some updates on city operations. The water plant, as you know, is under demolition. They're moving slowly, but they're consistent. There's some things they had to remove first before they can really get into the heavy demolition of the old water plant. So that's moving, consistently every day. And you'll see as the days go by, they'll get more intensive into demolishment. So be patient, but if you look on the rear side of that facility, they've done a lot of demolition already. So over the next 2 to 3 weeks, hopefully by the end of next month, that site will be pretty much cleared out. It's going to take a while to get to that point, but they're working consistently on a daily basis, and that's a great thing. The restriping on Larimore Road, I tell people all the time, I don't know if Larimore Road has 2 lanes or 4 lanes, because there's no more striping on that road. But we're going to be addressing that here in the next 2 weeks, of restriping and painting the lines back to Larimore Road, and we're going to make it look real nice. Put some additional safety and vehicle signs on Larimore Road. So I look forward to that occurring, because it's a safety issue right now. We finally have the funds to address the restriping on Larimore Road. So it's going to look real nice once we finish with it. FP&L, the city attorney and the city, we're currently reviewing a long-term agreement with FP&L. There are some things that we want to address first before we recommend an agreement to the commission. And as soon as we can come to an agreement with FP&L, we'll be bringing that agreement to the commission for review and consideration for execution. In addition to that, some community things, some housekeeping. We are really focusing on code enforcement over the next 6 months. There are some codes on the book that we have to, revive. These things particularly deal with truck routes, semi-trailers in communities. We have an ordinance on the books that address, semi-trucks in our residential communities, and we have to address that. It's something that has become an issue, because some of these semi-trucks, they drive over water lines, they destroy sidewalks when they're using residential streets. They shouldn't be parking in residential areas, and we've gotten away from enforcing that, and we have to go back to that, unfortunately. And so we'll look at some alternatives for semi-truck drivers who do park at their homes, where they can park, on the outskirts of town, or how that will work, but we have to look at that more closely now. In addition to that, we will be looking at some additional ordinance to create that will address beautification and continued maintenance for the city of Pahokee. A year and a half ago, we passed the ordinance that specifically addressed businesses and multi-rental unit landlords, and we've been, pretty successful at that, and they've been able to comply with that ordinance. And so we want to go back and address some additional things that we know will assist this community in beautification, which ultimately will assist in economic development. And we preached this before about code enforcement, clean up around our own doorsteps to ensure that we're inviting that this is a beautiful place that we can, invite guests in, invite businesses in, and really focus on investment. We need to get back to some basic things in the community as it comes to code enforcement. And some of it's going to be a little painful because some of these codes have not been enforced by code enforcement, but we're going to work together with our residents and to assist them in improving their homes and ultimately improving the community. And really, the bottom line is economic development for this city. As I said earlier this year, 2018 is about housing here in the city of Pahokee. We have a lot of our residents who don't have the type of housing that we should have here in the city of Pahokee, and we have to address that this year. We can't allow that to just sit and we ignore it. We have to address affordable housing, accessible housing for families, for our veterans, and for our seniors, and that's our goal here for this year. Some really great news is we closed out session this year, and as you know, the city of Pahokee went out there about $5 million in additional state funding for projects here in the city of Pahokee. We didn't hit $5 million this year. However, we were very blessed and very lucky this year to bring in about almost $1 million here for the city again this year. And that will specifically address some things on the marina. So we are proud about that. There were some projects on that list that were for this side of the dike that were very important for this city. And so we have to put our heads together, mayor and commission, and go back and come up with some solutions for some projects that we know have to be addressed for this community. But, a lot of cities didn't get anything this year out of the state legislative session. And Pahokee was, again, very blessed to get almost $1 million in funds. And so that speaks to the relationship that this administration has with Tallahassee. It speaks to the relationship that this commission has with the county and ultimately the federal government, and how we are respected in Tallahassee for what we're trying to do here in the city of Pahokee. So we should be, excited about that. We should be proud that we are continuing to bring in those types of funds that will assist in making this a better place to live, work, and really ultimately retire. That's the great news. The even better news is the funding from last year, as promised, those projects are going to come off the shelf here over the next 3 to 4 months. A lot of people are saying, when are those projects going to start? When are those projects are going to start? Well, they're going to be implemented pretty soon here. And so, Mayor, you got a lot to look forward to over the next 6 to 9 months because, we're going to be doing a lot of renovations and construction here. And I'm really excited about, what's going to happen on the marina and the, I could say the, what we're about to do there will set us apart from any other city on the lake. And I'm definitively saying that because of who we'll be bringing here into the city of Pahokee. And it's coming to that point where we have to allow the external audience to come to Pahokee. We can't be closed-minded. We have to allow those who want to be here, who want to come and bring something different to the city of Pahokee. You got to allow those people in. They weren't born here, they weren't raised here, but they certainly have an affinity for wanting to be in the city of Pahokee and to help this city grow and be vibrant again. And some of those folks are here tonight. And so we have to become partners with those who have an interest in the city of Pahokee, not just for their own good, but for our good. For everyone's good, no matter what color we are. And so we're excited about that. The diversity that we have in this city, it's apparent. Again, I'm excited about what 2018 holds. We're just the first quarter into 2018, but we certainly have an opportunity here to do some great things in 2018 and beyond. And so we as an administration, we had a staff meeting just recently, and I told them I'm not going anywhere. So you got to get used to seeing me. And my standards, I don't negotiate. And so we have a lot of work to do as a staff. We have a lot of work to do as a city. We have a lot work to do collectively in this county to make Pahokee that proud, beaming, as you say, jewel, and we are jewel. So, sorry you got to put up with me. I'm not going anywhere. I've been here 3 years, and the things that I want to do, when I got interviewed here, I said, I need 5 years. And I called it and Mayor, you remembered, I said 2020 plan. I said I needed 5 years. Well, I'm 3 years in, and I'm not finished yet. So I want the opportunity to continue making this the city that you all sitting in this audience can be proud of. And with the right resources and with the right, leadership, we can make that happen here in the city of Pahokee. All our former commissioners, all our current commissioners, you are our gatekeepers. You help us move this city forward. And so I appreciate all the assistance that we've received from you. But again, we've had a great 3 months here in the city of Pahokee, and it's only going to get better. Just give us the opportunity to ensure that we have the right things in place to begin making this city, a great city that it still is right now. But there's some things we need to improve on, and we know that. So thank you very much for that. But any questions about the report tonight, Commission?
Commissioners, any questions? I'll start with Commissioner Murray.
Not at this time, Mayor.
Thank you, ma'am. Vice Mayor Holmes?
Next week.
Commissioner Walker? Commissioner Hill?
No question.
I have one question, City Manager. I think last week we canceled a special meeting and a lot of concerns about the reason why. If you can just briefly share that. I don't see it on the agenda. I'm not sure if we're going to address what we was going to discuss in the meeting, but just for reference, courteous to the community. The special meeting we had called for the selection of the competitive bid. We're going to discuss that.
Well, we had a special meeting for that. What date was that?
The 20th.
22nd.
Yes.
And there were some multiple dynamics happening at that time. We had just gotten through an election. There was going to be a canvassing board for that same date. And we wanted to, that was priority over the special meeting about awarding of a bid. And then after that, we decided that we needed just 48 more hours to announce properly to the community about the canvassing board. But that's why that meeting was canceled, because another meeting was going to supersede it at that time. And I don't think we had, properly reviewed all the documents for the bid to even have a conversation at that time. Some of the investors, they weren't in town, and so that was the main reason why it was canceled. But it's on the agenda for tonight. It's an addition. We will be discussing it and hopefully passing it out, and so we're going to address that tonight. But it was just a conflict of interest of those two meetings occurring at the same time.
Okay, thank you. At this time, I'm adjourning this meeting. Hopefully, staff, I know we're not going to violate the attendance policy as far as the number of residents we can accommodate here, but if we can get some additional chairs, I don't know, we don't have a whole lot of space for it, but we want to try to at least accommodate that as much as possible. So we'll have a 5-minute recess and start back at 6:31. Someone come with some chairs?
Yes.
What's the capacity in this room? It's a small number.
But it's
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah, that's true. Yeah. One door. Because they push it and pull it. You need to have a sign on it. Yeah, I mean, they be just pushing it, but you got to pull it over and push it this way. They did? And you went to our team. Yeah. That's really. Okay.
No.
My son had a track. He ran track, yeah.
I was running track too over in Orange County.
Did you shut corn?
I did not because I was watching the
Wait, oh no.
I was the lost child. I had 5 lost children and I've never seen anyone which is understandable for me. Am I the lost child person?
You got a teacher look. They was like, okay, well, we're gonna go to her.
No. Oh, thanks. I didn't miss you this weekend either.
Where was it? No, I was in Georgia. Yes, Twin City. Excuse me.
This is the way we like it.
Somebody shut us down tonight.
Really? Yeah. I was in New Orleans.
But we got to tell me it's a special thing tonight.
You saw some of the pictures?
That's my, my daughter.
Which one?
I mean, my sister.
Yeah, we
Yeah,
should. That's
right.
right. That's right.
Nice guy. Yeah, they had a debate. I didn't know till 2 hours before the debate. People said that Regina said Regina told me that they were going to have a meet and greet during the debate. Yeah, it is what it is. Oh yeah.
Oh, you are.
I'm a man.
10-pound Bible at home. You know, it doesn't matter how big they are. It only matters who words in there.
But it's some things in Pahokee that change. I talked to you about it one day, or someone that will go to jail.
Hopefully get a few more chairs, but most of the time they'll leave after the ceremony clears in and gets a little more room. We should be all right.
So Mary, is that a color you put in the top? Oh, is it?
I'll give you this one.
I don't need it. I'm loud.
He likes it all the time.
So, but it don't wash out. Or you wash it? Oh, it don't? It'll fade out. Yeah, okay. I love the curl. Yeah. I like the feel. Lisa, put my hair like that. I mean, I had to go down, the screen went out on the car, and and man, they had the whole new radio. I was there from about 9:30 to like almost 2 o'clock. I was sitting there. And so I said, well, go ahead and change my oil too then while you Belgrade. Belgrade. At least it's done.
You know they go to Nate.
Does Felicia want
You know, that
Full treatment too.
they have it in April.
He probably came early. I didn't know what time.
They just clarified to be the first meeting in April. That's a swinging in of it.
So they should have it. They most of that whole had 2 rows.
Yeah, they're gonna have it. That was one of the questions. At our next meeting, 2 weeks from now.
So how did you see it?
Okay, right. Tell them what? Okay.
and everything's
Okay, that's
Okay, we're gonna get started, y'all. City Attorney, are you ready?
Yes, sir.
City Clerk,
Yes, sir.
City Manager,
Yes.
Commissioner Hill,
Yes.
Commissioner Mervin,
yes.
Vice Mayor Holmes,
Yes.
Commissioner Walker.
Yes.
Thank you. I call this meeting of the City of Pahokee, regular commission meeting of Tuesday, March 27, 2018 at 6:36 to order. May we please stand for the invocation given by Commissioner Mervin, followed by the Pledge of Allegiance. Commissioner Mervin has yelled the invocation to former Commissioner Biggs. Commissioner Biggs, would you lead us in our invocation?
Let us pray. Our Father God, we come before you this evening in the humblest manner that we do know how, just to thank you for this opportunity to come together in this assembly of the city of Pahokee. God, we ask that thou will bless us tonight, give us wisdom, knowledge, and understanding as to how to receive and accept whatever you have allowed. God, we thank you so much for all that are present. Ask that thou will continue to bless our citizens. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen. Roll call, Madam Clerk.
Mayor Bab,
Present.
Vice Mayor Holmes, Commissioner Hill,
Present.
Commissioner Mervin,
Present.
Commissioner Walker,
Present.
City Manager,
Present.
City Attorney,
present.
Deputy Freeman,
Present.
City Clerk, present.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Thank you, Commissioners. Thank you, staff, and thank each of you all for being here tonight to participate in our regular commission meeting of Tuesday, March 27. We have a short agenda, but we have a large crowd, so we're going to ask that you keep the noise to a minimum. Please silence your cell phone if you haven't already did so. We have a sensitive mic system in here, so it does pick up all your talking. So if you can help us with that, we'll be having a real smooth meeting. And again, I just thank each of you all for coming. We know we have a swearing-in ceremony. Many of you all are here to witness that. Just want to encourage you to continue to come and participate in our regular commission meeting. If you're unable to make it, we do have live streaming on each and every one of our meetings. So we look forward to your future participation in helping our city move forward. We're going to move right into our regular commission meeting, starting with the addition, deletion, and approval of the agenda items. Are there any additions?
Yes, Mayor. Resolution 2018-15, intent to award bid to Everglades Reserve Holding, LLC. Just one addition, Mayor.
Thank you. Are there any deletions?
No, Mayor.
Hearing none, the chair will now entertain a motion for the adoption of the agenda as presented with the one add-on.
Mayor, I motion to adopt Resolution 2018-15, intent to award bid to Everglades Reserve Holding, LLC.
Second.
Been properly moved by Commissioner Mervin and properly seconded by Commissioner Hill for the adoption of the agenda as presented with the one add-on resolution of 2018-15. Call for questions. Hearing none, are you ready for vote? Roll call, Madam Clerk.
Commissioner Mervin?
Yes.
Commissioner Hill?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Holmes?
Yes.
Commissioner Walker?
Yes.
Mayor Bab?
Yes. Thank you, Madam Clerk. Thank you, Commissioners. The agenda is approved with the one add-on by unanimous vote. Now we'll move into our swearing in of our commissioners that was elected in March of this year.
Mr. Mayor, I think we'll begin with our existing commissioner who has been re-elected. Ask Commissioner Hill to come on down forward.
Her mom is coming, Gary. Gary, her mother is coming to hold the Bible for you.
And I understand your mom's going to join us. We're honored to have her here today. Okay, I'd ask you to please put your hand on the Bible and raise your right hand. I, your name?
I, Felicia Hill,
Do solemnly swear that I will
do solemnly swear that I will
support, protect, and defend
support, protect, and defend
the Constitution and government of the United States of America
the Constitution and government of the United States of America
and the state of Florida,
and the state of Florida,
that I am duly qualified to hold office
that I am duly qualified to hold office
under the Constitution of this state
under the Constitution of this state
and charter of the city of Pahokee,
and charter of the city of Pahokee,
that I will
that I will
well and faithfully
well and faithfully
perform the duties of the office of the city of Pahokee,
perform the duties of the office of the city of Pahokee,
on which I am now about to enter, so help me God.
of which I am now about to enter. Oh, swear me God.
Oh, help me, God.
Congratulations. Now we're honored to have our newly elected commissioner and his mom. And Dad. And Dad. Fabulous. Please put your hand on the Bible, sir. Raise your right hand.
Exactly.
Okay, I
I, Benny L. Everett III,
do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support,
that I will support,
protect, and defend the Constitution
protect, and defend the Constitution
and the government of the United States of America
and the government of the United States of America
and the state of Florida,
and the state of Florida,
that I am duly qualified to hold office under the Constitution
that I am duly qualified to hold under the Constitution,
office under the Constitution
office of the Constitution
of the state
of the state
and the charter
and the charter
of the city of Pahokee,
of the city of Pahokee,
that I will
that I will
well and faithfully perform the duties of the office of the city
Lord, you got it right.
That's what happened to me.
Okay. I think we got I will. After that, well and faithfully
Well and faithfully
perform
perform
the duties of the office
the duties of the office
of the city of Pahokee
of the city of Pahokee,
on which I am now about to enter.
on
Which I am now about to enter.
Nervous.
I know. So
On which
am I. On which,
I'm now about to enter.
so help me God.
So help me God.
Congratulations.
before Commissioner Everett, just before taking your seat,
I think on behalf of all the citizens and the Commission of the City of Pahokee, would all like to extend our thanks to Commissioner Holmes for his good and diligent service to the community.
again, welcome our new Commissioner, Benny Everett III. Congratulations to you, sir. Also, Commissioner Hill, on your reelection. Thank you. Congratulations to you, ma'am. And again, to the outgoing Commissioner, Nathaniel Holmes, thank you for all your services over the last 3 years. And the courage and the respect and the gentleman's gesture to be here for the witness of the passing of the torch. That take a man to do that. I did it when I was defeated on 2 occasions, and I think that's commendable of him. Thank you. So we're going to continue with our agenda. We're into the citizen comments, agenda items only. Madam Clerk, are there any comments cards pertaining to agenda items?
No, sir.
Hearing none, we'll move on. Public service announcement. Also must have a public service comment card completed. Madam Clerk, are there any public service announcements?
No, sir.
Thank you, ma'am. Approve of the minutes of February the 27th, 2018, regular scheduled commission meeting. What's your pleasure, City Commission?
Mayor, I motion to approve the regular commission meeting for Tuesday, March 27, 2018.
Let's go back. There's a typo here. This is
in the
really
last
supposed to be
meeting.
approved in minutes. Do we
last
have
meeting.
any minutes for the
That's
approval?
from February.
That's the last meeting.
Okay,
Last
February, I'm
meeting,
sorry.
February
I'm not sure if I said March or
Yeah,
February. I
okay.
believe I said February, but February 27th.
Okay, so I motion to approve the minutes for February 27, 2018, regular scheduled commission meeting.
Second.
It's been moved by Commissioner Mervin and properly seconded by Commissioner Hill. Call for questions. Hearing none, are you ready for vote? Roll call, Madam Clerk.
Commissioner Mervin?
Yes.
Commissioner Hill?
Yes.
Commissioner Everett?
Yes.
Commissioner Walker?
Yes.
Mayor Bab?
Yes. Thank you, Madam Clerk. Thank you, Commissioners. The approval of the minutes of February 27 passes unanimously. We don't have any consent agenda items. We do have 3 resolutions. Resolution 2018-13. City Attorney.
Mr. Mayor, this is a resolution of the City Commission of the City of Pahokee, Florida, authorizing the issuance of a letter of intent to withdraw from the Public Risk Management of Florida insurance pool, providing for severability and providing for an effective date.
Thank you, City Attorney. City Commissioners, having had Resolution 2018-13 properly read into the minutes, what is your pleasure?
Is it any way you can explain that to me?
On the question.
Oh, okay, on the questions, okay. So, would I ask a question? So I motion to accept the resolution 2018-13. Okay, I second.
Been moved by Commissioner Mervin and properly seconded by Commissioner Hill for the adoption of Resolution 2018-13. Call for question. City Attorney, could you explain the resolution?
Well, we are currently a part of the Public Risk Management of Florida insurance system. The city manager has indicated his desire to shop the insurance policy around to other providers. In order to do that, you have to give the notice that is required under the agreement with Public Risk Management, and that's what this resolution does.
Any additional questions? Hearing none, are you ready for vote? Roll call, Madam Clerk.
Commissioner Mervin?
Yes.
Commissioner Hill?
Yes.
Commissioner Everett?
Yes.
Commissioner Walker?
Yes.
Mayor Bab?
Yes. Thank you, City Clerk. Thank you, City Commissioners. Resolution 2018-13 passes unanimously. Now we have Resolution 2018-14. City Attorney.
Mr. Mayor, this is a resolution of the City Commission of the City of Pahokee, Florida, canceling the award of resurfacing City of Pahokee roadways Phase 3 to Weekly Asphalt Paving, Inc.
Thank you, City Attorney. City Commissioners, having had Resolution 2018-14 properly read into the minutes, what's your pleasure?
I'd like to make a motion to move, for resolution 2018-14. I second.
It's been moved by Commissioner Hill and properly seconded by Commissioner Mervin for the adoption of Resolution 2018-14. Call for questions. Hearing none, are you ready for vote? Roll call, Madam Clerk.
Commissioner Hill?
Yes.
Commissioner Mervin?
Yes.
Commissioner Everett?
Yes.
Commissioner Walker?
Yes.
Mayor Bab?
Yes. Thank you, City Clerk. Thank you, City Commissioners. Resolution 2018-14 passes by a unanimous vote. Now we have Resolution 2018-15. City Attorney.
Mr. Mayor, by way of introduction to this item, I wanted to bring to the city's attention what has led us up to this point. The Everglades Reserve Holding LLC has been steadfast in their interest in pursuing with Pahokee the development of the Pahokee Marina and Restaurant. And in fact, at one time we had entered into a contract with them that we thought the state of Florida might approve. However, the state said that they would require a competitive commercial bid on the property, and consequently rejected that contract. Subsequent to that time, we formulated a competitive bid, sent it to the state approved it. It was advertised properly, and Everglades Reserve Holdings, Inc. Stuck through this process with the city of Pahokee, presented an excellent presentation of their proposal, which you'll see in the leather binder in front of you, which meets all the bid requirements. And the city manager may want to go into that further. But at this point, the process is the city adopts a resolution indicating its intent to award the bid and contract to Everglades Reserve Holding, LLC. And then we go back to the state of Florida, ask the Division of State Lands and the governor and cabinet to waive the fee requirements under the statutes for both the upland and submerged lands and deal with an ad valorem tax issue. Once they have done that and Everglades Reserve Holding, Inc. is satisfied with the way that all comes out, then at that time we enter into the actual contract with Everglades Reserve. So with that said, that's what this resolution does. It takes that next step of indicating our intent to award the bid to them so that we can then go to Tallahassee and get this deal done. So Resolution 218-15 is a resolution of the City Commission of the City of Pahokee, Florida, indicating the city's intention to award bid number 218-01 and the sublease agreement to Everglades Reserve Holdings, LLC, a Florida limited liability company, asking the Florida Department of Environmental Protection, Division of State Lands Management, to recommend approval of the sublease to the Board of Trustees of the Internal Improvement Trust Fund with the waiver of fees on the submerged lands lease and the uplands lease and language regarding ad valorem taxes.
Thank you, City Attorney. City Commissioners, having had Resolution 2018-15 properly read into the minutes and explained, what's your pleasure?
I'd like to make a motion to move, what? I'm
Move for the
sorry.
adoption.
Move for the adoption, I'm sorry, Resolution 2018-15, I didn't understand my notes, I'm sorry.
And I would gladly accept that resolution, Mayor.
It has been moved by Commissioner Mervin and properly seconded by Commissioner,
The other way around.
I'm sorry, back that up. It has been moved by Commissioner Hill and properly seconded by Commissioner Mervin for the adoption of Resolution 2018-15. Call for questions. Hearing none, are you ready for vote? Roll call, Madam Clerk.
Commissioner Hill,
Yes.
Commissioner Mervis,
Yes.
Commissioner Everett,
Yes.
Commissioner Walker. Yes. Mayor Bab.
Yes. Thank you, Madam Clerk. Thank you, Commissioners. Resolution 2018-15 has been passed by unanimous decision. Commissioner Hill.
I'm sorry, I apologize. What's the time frame of this process? Just a guesstimation.
A guesstimation, I'm hoping it is complete in 3 to 4 months. That's a,
Oh,
the state departments don't work too quick, and
okay,
got to get the recommendation drawn up and everyone in agreement, and then it's got to be presented to the governor and cabinet,
okay.
and so it, you know, it's a big process.
Okay,
Good job.
okay, thank you.
And just for planning purposes, do you anticipate the commission having to go up to Tallahassee to assist with the lobbying for this?
Well, once this is adopted tonight, I think what we'll do is meet with Everglades Reserve and marshal our forces to see what the best approach will be to present and get this accomplished.
Okay. Again, thank you. We're moving to public hearings. We don't have any public hearings tonight. Proclamations, no proclamations. We do have two presentation of the lawn of the month. We will turn this portion over briefly to our city manager just to give some explanation of this process and the winners.
Thank you, Mayor. Some time ago, last year, we created an award here in the city of Pahokee. One of the awards is Lawn of the Month, and the second award is Mayor Bab's Gold Hammer and Nail Award. The Lawn of the Month is awarded to a homeowner here in the city of Pahokee that has maintained their lawn and it sort of stands above the crowd among all the other homes in the community. And so what we wanted to do, our intent is to create an award where we can award a homeowner on a monthly basis. What they receive is a $75 check from the city of Pahokee. They also get to have that sign placed in their yard for 30 days, and it says Lawn of the Month. The intent behind that is to encourage all of our neighbors and all of our residents to continue to work together to increase our value in our homes and take pride in our homes, not like we don't now, but we wanted to recognize those homes that stand out in the community and let them know that we appreciate them making this city beautiful. And we appreciate them helping us to, as I said earlier in the workshop, develop this city for investment and inviting other people to come live with us. So it's a sense of community. It's a sense that we take pride in our homes and in our lawns. And we know, I know there's a lot of folks out here in Pahokee that take deep pride in how their homes look and how their lawns look. And so they manicure them as much as possible. And so this award recognizes the Lawn of the Month. For this month, for March, what was for March, the award goes to, and I don't know if she's here tonight. No, he's here. Dorothy Abrams. The husband is here. Okay, please come up, sir.
Could the commission join me down?
You want to go on?
Abram McPherson. I'm not sure just why Ms. Abram name's on here, but we know the money's going to go to anyway, though. It's $75, I believe, here. Okay. Mr. Abram, Mr. McPherson, on behalf of the Pahokee City Commission, has given me great honor to present this check to you for Lawn of the Month. We encourage you to continue making your yard beautiful. We know that's going to be a contagious effect on the entire community. We challenge others, residents in our community, to follow suit and try to win the next $75. We also encourage you to shop and spend this money locally. We always want to support our local business, but it is an honor, and we thank you and your wife for this accomplishment this afternoon. Okay. And after a photo op, we'll give you an opportunity to say a few words. You can put the challenge out to him. You can actually win it again if you want to.
I just want to thank the commission for recognizing, but I wasn't doing that for an award. I live in Pahokee, and I thought about moving a lot of times, but you know, this is where I was raised, and I want to help make our community better. And that's
All right. The second award is Mayor Babb's Gold Hammer and Nail Award. This award is only given quarterly, meaning every 3.5 or 4 months or so. And it's designed to recognize a homeowner that not only has maintained their lawn, but has gone beyond that and did major renovations to increase the value of their home, to increase the value of the community, to increase the value of their neighbors' homes as well. And so this award carries a $100 value on a quarterly basis. And the gentleman that I'm speaking of came into this community about 8 or 9 months ago. He came from Broward. And he decided that he wanted to live among us in this community. And he took ownership of a home on Cypress Avenue. And many of you know that home as the old, I think, funeral place. And I visited him probably late fall, and I went in there and I went, "You gonna turn this into a home?" He said, "Yeah." And I couldn't imagine, you know, him doing the renovations to that building based on what I saw at the current time. But I went back probably about 3 or 4 months ago, and it is amazing what he has done to this particular structure. It is now a residence. I think it has about 6 bedrooms. Yeah. Yeah. I'll let you talk. Hold on, Sam. So I don't know anyone has done that in this community. I'm sure there's some renovations that are going on, but you got to give it to Sam Martiello. Come on up for this award on what he's been able to do. And by the way, Sam's also, he brought his business to Pahokee. He runs his business out of his home. He is a licensed real estate broker. So he's sold one of my staff a home here in Pahokee. So not only did he move to Pahokee, but he has his offices in his home as well, and he's selling homes here in the city of Pahokee.
Again, on behalf of the Pahokee City Commission, Commissioner Mervin, Commissioner Everett, Commissioner Walker, Commissioner Hill, and myself, it is indeed an honor and privilege and pleasure to present you with this check for the work you have done, not only to that particular property, but the other properties you are assisting homeowners in purchasing and renovating. And as we always try to do here at Pahokee as a teamwork, I'm gonna let my new commissioner present this award to you. We kind of get them started early.
On behalf of the city of Pahokee, we're glad to give you this token of love.
Thank you.
And Sam, as the other recipient, we encourage you to spend that big $100 check here in Pahokee and support our local businesses. And again, thank you so much. And I'm going to give you an opportunity to say a few words after we get a photo op.
Thank you. I am honored for this. I mean, the house needed a lot of work, and I've been working on this house for over a year and a half. I moved in April of last year, but it just took a lot of work. 340 sheets of drywall. You know, so it's a big project, and I'm very happy to be here. You have no idea, moving from Broward to here, it's like night and day. I get nervous when I have to drive south. I still have business down there. But I can't figure out at night sometimes. I hear a lot of yelling and screaming, and I can't figure what that is. But anyway, just kidding. Thank you very much. I'm honored for it.
That's the funeral home. In addition to that, that particular sign is much larger than the Lawn of the Month sign. I think it's about 2 by 3, and it stays in his yard for 3 months, and it recognizes him as being the Mayor's Gold Hammer and Nail Award. And so again, we hope that encourages our community to continue. If it's just a simple paint job, it's amazing what a simple paint job can do to your home and to your community and to your street if you invest in that. So we hope that this encourages all of our homeowners to get into the habit of maintaining their homes, pressure washing their homes, repainting, because that only uplifts this community and gives us an opportunity to really showcase who we are here in the city of Pahokee as residents and as homeowners. So thank you very much, Sam.
Okay, we're going to move into the mayor's report. I promise I'll be very brief. As everyone aware, we had an election on March 13th. The election is over. There may be some contestant to the results, but officially, as it stands now, it's over. I thank the community for coming out, voting in large numbers. Normally when the election is not a election where the mayor race, normally because of 3 candidates is running, this race only had 2, but there was a very large turnout. You should be commended. for the sportsmanship in running the campaign and the election. I mentioned the fact that it's over because I think that the city now and the resident needs to work together to move our city forward. One of the reasons there's some changes is because the community sometimes saw us infighting, and I'm not going to say we can always agree, and we're not. We're different. We're 5 different individuals, but we have to work on the same accord for the same goal and the same purpose. That's why we're here. And I believe that this commission will continue to move this city even further than what it has been in the last 2 years. So with your help and your support and your continuous coming to the commission meeting and giving us guidance and some direction, I think we're going to be able to do that. As the city manager indicated in his earlier report during the workshop, housing is going to be one of our #1 goals, is to bring some houses so some of our young people, some of our young professionals who want to move back to Pahokee will have that opportunity to do so. In addition to that, he didn't mention this, but we all know that we want and will work toward bringing new businesses into Pahokee. And I'm going to encourage you that when those businesses do come, that we support them. We know sometimes the cost may be a little higher than it is on the coast, but the only way these businesses will survive is everyone in the city assist them and support their businesses. And when you look around for local businesses, look who they hire. They're not going to be hiring people out of West Palm and Fort Lauderdale and Miami. 99.9% of all hirees will be here in our city, in our surrounding communities. So let's just keep that in mind. And there's also a saying is if you're not at the table, you're probably part of the dinner. This commission over the last 2 years has really been at the table. Just this month, we went to Washington, D.C. for the annual legislative conference to talk to Congressman Hastings and others. So we're going to be doing that and continue to build those relations so we can bring those dollars back to Pahokee to help with our infrastructure and other needs in our city. On August the 20th, I attended the Suits for Senior ceremony, March 20th. Suits for Senior ceremony, that was a graduation ceremony of Glade Central High and Pahokee High. And it's an 8 weeks program where they train for leadership and get the youth ready for their careers. Chandler, our city manager, spoke with them at Pahokee High School. I think they had about 25 speakers during the course of the 8 weeks, and that was a exciting event to help represent the seniors in our community in that. We also had I Love Pahokee Day on Saturday, March the 23rd. 24th. I just got all these dates wrong, huh? But that was a great event. That's an annual event that we held each year. I want to thank the Chamber and all our different sponsors for sponsoring that. I want to thank the community for coming out and record numbers to participate in that. Those activities takes a lot of planning and a lot of organizing, and without you, they really won't be successful. So when those events does occur, if you are available, please try your best to attend and participate in those. And lastly, I personally, along with I think about 100 local residents, attended the Ricky Jackson's 60th birthday celebration. Pahokee was well represented. I had my I Love Pahokee button, so I'm always promoting the city. There are some wealthy peoples in Louisiana, especially some of those NFL players. So I'm passing out cards and trying to get some businesses to relocate here. So those were some activity that we had in the month of March. And thank you so much. And again, and lastly, I would like to. The Mayor's Ball, great. That was a great opportunity. That program was a program annually that Palm Beach County Mayor put on for all the mayors in the county, and it helped the Hunger Coalition to provide resources for that, so no one will be left without a home or place to call home. And lastly, we want to thank our newly elected City Commissioner, Benny Everett III. It's no doubt that this young man is going to be a dynamic commissioner. He's already very community-oriented, well-spoken, well-versed, knowledgeable, and we just welcome him on board. And we also would like to welcome again our re-elected commissioner, Commissioner Hill. I think this team that you see before you will work hard for you. We don't mind the criticism. We do like compliments from time to time when we are doing things right, but we're gonna work tirelessly, you know. We're Chandler boss, you're our boss, and together we're gonna move this city forward. Thank you so much. Now we're moving to our city manager report.
Thank you, Mayor, Commissioner Everett. Welcome to the commission. Welcome to this
Thank you.
Dynamic team. I really appreciate the discussions that we've had since you've been elected. Commissioner Everett has come in with all eyes open. He certainly has asked a lot of questions, and he's willing to take a moment to learn the process of serving the city of Pahokee, and we're certainly going to do our best to ensure we bring him up to speed quickly. I can tell you he's a tireless reader of all my emails because I get the most questions from Commissioner Everett, and that's okay because that means to me that you're engaged to what's going on in this city, and that's important. I've expressed us communicating more succinctly, so when we do the city's business in public, that we can assure you that we make appropriate decisions that move this city forward. So Commissioner Everett, thank you very much for coming in and setting the example as a new commissioner and your commitment to the city of Pahokee. And as the mayor said, we have a great team, had a great team, got another great team, and we're going to keep moving the city forward. 2018 brings a lot of excitement here, but what we're trying to accomplish, housing being one of them, and certainly we're going to continue to address our infrastructure here in the city of Pahokee, which is paramount to our survival and to success of many other things that we want to do. One thing I left out of the city manager's report during the workshop is the Old Pahokee High School. You've heard me speak about this before. We will have additional contractors and building inspectors on site on Thursday. And what they want to do is some structural integrity inspections of the facility, of the building itself. Right now, we have funding to do the external renovations, and that is replacing the windows, painting, landscaping, and doing some things that would shore up the viability of that building as we prepare to locate some funds to do the external renovation. So I think you'll be, very happy and pleased once we begin to do those renovations on Pahokee High School. So please be patient. We know that's an eyesore here at 360 East Main, but we are moving as quickly as possible to address that eyesore here in the city of Pahokee. So just be patient with us, but that project will come online soon, but we have to do some due diligence on the structure of that building first, because it is on the National Historic Registry, and so we have to be very delicate on the things that we do to it. We have to stay in line with the classification of it being on the National Registry. So we want to ensure that we're doing the correct types of renovations to keep with the value that it displays and allows it to be on the National Registry. So, thanks. I mentioned the LP&L agreement. The city attorney and the city, we're discussing with LP&L a long-term agreement for the city of Pahokee. Once we come to terms with how that agreement should look and operate for the city of Pahokee. We'll bring that back to the commission for execution. The FP&L agreement is long-term. They can be 10 years, they can be 20 years, they can even go up to 30 years. And so we want to make sure whatever we sign and bring to the commission that it addresses all of our needs. There's no astronomical payments that are going to result back to our residents here in the city of Pahokee, while at the same time addressing the infrastructure of FP&L. And I want to address that before I sign an agreement, because we went through Hurricane Irma and we quickly lost power in this city because our infrastructure is not as strong as other cities on the coast. And so we have to start addressing that here in the city of Pahokee before we, sign on to another agreement with FP&L. I think we'll get there. They'll show some commitment on their half to ensure that we have some things in place for the next years coming, that when we weather those Cat 5s and Category 4 and never, hopefully, a Category 5 hurricane, that we can sustain our infrastructure, and we can maintain our utilities where we don't, I think we're out of power for about 10 to 14 days here overall. And so we have to address that in some way, somehow, to ensure that that doesn't happen again. We can't prevent it right now, but we can have that discussion with FP&L before we sign that agreement, that they'll commit to doing some new infrastructure things here in the city of Pahokee that can prevent that in the years coming. So. If there are no more additional questions, I met a young lady here. I think she presented at the commission at the last commission meeting. She was at I Love Pahokee Day, and she's trying to bring her business to the city of Pahokee in nutrition and health, health and wellness. But she gave me some T-shirts, and I wish the vice mayor was still here, because I was going to give him one, because I'm going to give all the commissioners one. Never give y'all gifts, but I'm gonna open one of them. I think this one's yours, Mayor. But what she put on it, it's very unique. She put on it hashtag Pahokee United. I thought that was very, pleasing for the occasion that I Love Pahokee Day, but I think it's even more, goes directly to who we need to be moving forward after a very exhausting election that we've had. And I don't get into politics, even though they think I do, but I don't. But I think this is very, what we need to look at when we, get those conversations on Facebook and social media. We need to think about this. We need to focus on who we are as a community and where we want to go as a community, because we're not going to be successful without you. But we certainly will go down in a divisive manner if we continue the behaviors that we've had over the past. And so I'm hoping that these types of T-shirts and these types of little gestures will bring us all together. And I like this T-shirt. And on the back it says, I love Pahokee. So, we love Pahokee. Well, I love it too. But very unique. So I have a T-shirt for all of you. I wish I could give them all out tonight. Maybe she would start selling them. I don't know. This is probably her first advertisement that I'm doing for her tonight, so she probably needs to pay me for her advertisement. But these are very, I like these, because it says, to everyone out there that we are united, regardless of what's going on in Pahokee. We have our differences, and we're going to have those discussions. But at the end of the day, as Commissioner Hill always says, at the end of the day, we're going to make the decisions that move this city forward, and we're going to still love each other after we make those decisions. And so that's important. I think this is yours, Mayor, so I apologize for opening your box. And that's it, for if I don't have any additional questions. But the 2X is for former Vice Mayor Holmes.
Oh, okay.
I've been exercising. I just figured I may need it. Next large is fine.
But this is white. Okay, I'm missing one. I see the chart. So I guess okay. Thank you. So that's my report tonight.
Thank you, City Manager. Now we're moving to our City Attorney report.
Mr. Mayor, do you want me to summarize the activity that occurred as far as litigation is concerned during the election, or have you all had enough of that?
Commissioner, you need any clarification or further summarization of what transpired during the election?
Yes,
Or
sir, I think
do we
we
have enough of it that we can move on?
I think we should,
public
clarification.
Okay, we can
Okay.
take a little more.
I'll summarize it then quickly. A resident filed a complaint that Sarah Perez was not a resident of the city of Pahokee and therefore could not stand for election. That complaint was forwarded to the supervisor of elections. Supervisor of elections investigated it, believed it to be true, went through the process required by law with respect to advertisements and so forth, and removed Sarah Perez's name from the voter registration list for the city of Pahokee, and thus disqualified her as a candidate for the city. Sarah Perez sued over this and convinced her excellent lawyer, convinced the judge that she was in fact a resident of the city by virtue of her staying in the tire store owned by the city. And ordered that her name be placed back on the ballot. The city and the supervisor complied with that order. Her name was placed back on the ballot. The notices that were posted in accordance with that court order, and the votes came in and were counted by the supervisor of elections. The count of votes ended up with Felicia Hill ahead by 2, thus requiring an automatic recount and the calling together of your canvassing board. The city's canvassing board is composed of all the commissioners who are not up for election during that cycle and myself. And we gathered at the supervisor of elections counting facility, which is a huge warehouse with a lot of equipment, and we all watched second by second as the recount took place. The recount resulted in the same count, Felicia Hill up by 2. Although the law does not require with that amount of margin that the undervotes be looked at separately, the canvassing board decided that we wanted to make sure that every single voter in that elections that had a vote that was clear and discernible would be counted. So we asked to recount the undervotes. For you that don't know that language, an undervote is when someone does not vote in one of the elections, and consequently in that election there's no mark, so it's an undervote. So we took a look at all the ballots that were undervotes, and it was clear that one of the ballots that was in the undervote pile showed clear and unequivocal intention on behalf of the voter, whoever that person was, to vote for both Benny Everett and Felicia Hill. And as a result, their tallies in the election each went up by 1. The supervisor of elections certified that result, and subsequently we noticed a public hearing of the Pahokee Canvassing Board, and we met and again went over the results as I just indicated and certified the election. So the result was Hill by 3. Sarah Perez, through her excellent lawyer, filed a supplemental petition to have all the absentee ballots thrown out and not counted, or to have the court order a new election. That was brought up for hearing this morning, and the court denied the request. So that's where we are at this point. It doesn't mean that there won't be further litigation, but that's where we are at this point. The next item I'd like to bring to your attention is in regard to Okeechobee Land Company. As you recall, Okeechobee Land Company leases a piece of property, and that lease was entered into in 2008 in July, and the lease runs through July 30th, 2018. Mr. Perez, representing Okeechobee Land Company, has asked the City Commission for permission to purchase this property. And the Commission, at your last meeting, when you looked at this issue, decided to postpone it and take a look at it at a later date, that being today. In the interim, we've received a letter from Mr. Montgomery, Mr. Perez's lawyer, threatening a lawsuit in the event that the city does not sell him the property under the terms that he requests. Now, as we've discussed previously, the lease does contain, in the very last sentence, it says option to buy. And any time during the lease, tenant shall have the option to purchase a property at the then existing market value based upon a certified appraisal of same. Well, Mr. Perez doesn't want to pay the appraised value, and neither the city nor Mr. Perez have agreed on a price for the property. Without an agreement on the price, the option is unenforceable. It's basically an agreement to agree in the future. Like, I'll sell you my house in the future, but we'll decide on the price in the future. So if you don't decide on the price in the future, you've got no agreement. It's unenforceable. Mr. Montgomery, of course, would differ with that and has threatened the city with a lawsuit. Interestingly enough, this same property is the property that Sarah Perez says that she had her legal residence in. Now, this lease says right on its face that the property is to be used for a tire store and no other purpose whatsoever without the city's permission. The city never gave permission to use it as a residence. In addition, I believe the city manager brought to my attention that the lease requires certain insurance policies to be provided to the city and in force and effect at all times. And we do not believe he has provided that insurance that he indicated he would under the lease agreement. Those constitutes clear defaults of the agreement. The agreement itself says that if the tenant, Okeechobee Land Company, defaults, then the city is obligated to, and anything other than paying rent, then the city is obligated to give them 30 days notice to cure the default. If they don't cure the default in the 30-day period, then the city can terminate the lease. In addition, the lease terminates on its own term by July 30th of 2018. So that's the situation we're in with respect to the Okeechobee Land Company. And it's being brought to you today for direction as to what you wish us to do with regard to this lease.
Commission, having heard the report from the city attorney, first of all, I would, before we entertain questions from the commission, seek legal counsel recommendation at this point. Again, it's ultimately up to the commissioner what direction we want to take, but I think it would be advisable for us to at least take in consideration our legal counsel recommendations. So at this point, city attorney, I'm gonna just put it right back to your table and ask you what recommendation would you give for us to move forward?
I believe that you should instruct me to give them notice that they are in default of their lease under the two provisions that I indicated earlier, and that if the default is not cured in 30 days by one, removing any residential aspects of that property, to be verified by city staff inspection the same, upon them notifying us that they have removed any residents from that property and provided us with the insurance policy in that 30-day period, and if not, terminate the lease at the end of that 30 days. And then as a second consideration, you need to decide whether or not you want to sell the building. If you do not want to sell the building, then I would suggest we give them notice now that we expect them to leave the premises in an orderly fashion at the termination of the lease, which is July 30th, 2018.
I'm going to start with Commissioner Hill to allow for some questioning of the city attorney, just for clarification, if there's any clarification that you feel you need. So you can ask any question you want at this time. And I guess at the end of our little conversation, we would entertain a motion from one of the commission to move in some fashion of directions.
Just for clarity, so for July 30th, that's when the lease is
Terminates.
terminates. So we have a choice to have them to vacate.
Yes, you could indicate now that your intention is not to sell the building at the price that they have offered. Consequently, you expect them to move out of the building on July 30th, 2018.
Okay. And for now, we're what? Besides the July 30th?
The second part of that would be that you find them in default of the lease agreement for using it as a residential structure, require them to remove all vestiges of usage of the residential structure within 30 days, and provide the city the insurance policies as required under the lease within 30 days. If that's not done and inspected by the city in that 30-day period, then the lease, you would also terminate the lease.
Well, like I say always, we're here as a team, no matter what. I would want us to discuss exactly what we would want to do. Now, what I would do is I don't wish to sell the property, but we have to make that decision as a team. But I wouldn't sell the property.
Mr. Mayor, point of order.
Yes.
We've asked the attorney for legal advice. The attorney has given, to the best of his knowledge, legal advice. Now it's incumbent upon us as a commission to make a decision based off of the legal advice given by our attorney. He stated that we must give the tenant 30 days to do what needs to be done, and if not, the lease is default, if I heard you correctly.
Yep.
And as a commission, we need to make a decision on whether or not we're going to sell tonight. I'm one person on this commission. I just don't feel comfortable with one occupying a building, and we're also in litigation. So we need to make a decision right now as to following the legal advice of our attorney. That's 30 days. Then we need to make a decision of giving them our answer of whether or not we wish to sell or not.
Again, the issue there is they have an option to purchase if you can agree on a price. He has submitted a price to you, which the city manager has indicated is insufficient. So your decision today would be that you would turn down his offer as far as his price is concerned, and expect him to leave the premises when his lease terminates.
Okay, we never received, go ahead, Mr. Commissioner Everett.
Go ahead.
We never received a price. Let me tell you, listen, my thing is with the city of Pahokee, I sit in this seat to make sure that every deal or everything that comes through this microphone or this diocese is for the betterment of the city. Now, if we're speaking correct dollars, if he's wanting to purchase this for the value and we're gaining for the city of Pahokee, and that's what he's agreeing to, I would understand that. But for this, at this moment, I don't have any numbers. I don't have anything in front of me. So I would not be interested in selling the property. And I will most definitely, I think that they need the 30-day notice to make sure that, you know, if anybody is residing in the commercial zone building, that needs to be taken care of because it is a liability. So I think all of that needs to be addressed, like you said, tonight. But again, we have to do that as a team, and if we have to sit here and dialogue on it, it's okay. But I do not agree to sell this property at right now. I don't even have any numbers in front of me. But if it's not for the betterment of this city, then most definitely not.
Well,
Point of order, Mr. Mayor. And as they say in the country, I don't want to beat the horse that's already dead any longer. But when we look at the damages, according to the claim, he has, it's in here over almost $200,000. But if we look at our lease, it states that any renovations done would be at the cost of the tenant. And if the tenant is asked to leave, or if the lease expire, that the tenant understands that all renovations stays in the building. Now, I didn't go to Harvard law, but I do know option is option, whether no matter where you go. And so the city reserves the right to say, yes, we want to sell. The city reserves the right to say, no, we don't want to sell. So if I'm in order, Mr. Mayor, I would like to offer a motion to follow the legal advice of the attorney and give the tenant 30 days to make those corrections, understanding that a written consent was not secured to make the changes to a building that was appraised, addressed to Mr. Perez for a shop, for an office, and something else that did not include residential space. So I'm making a motion that we give them the 30 days per the contract, the agreement that the city and the tenant entered into. Also, that the lease expires without any desire to sell. That's not, Mr. Mayor, that's not in order. The motion is out, it needs to be second.
Oh, a second.
I have a question.
We have a motion
We
on
have
the
a
floor.
motion on the floor.
It has to be second.
By Commissioner Everett and properly second by Commissioner Hill. Now it's time to call for questions.
Mr. Mayor, we made a motion, it was properly second. According to Robert Rules of Order, we can open the floor up for discussion from the commissioners. And then, once discussion is made, we can call for the question, we make a vote. But at this time, we're not entertaining any comments from the audience. A motion was made. It was properly second. It must carry. We're not entertaining comments from the audience, but there are comment cards out there in the lobby.
Mr. Mayor, you are the chair. You run the meetings.
I would have to agree with the commission at this point. I did open it up for a motion, and it was properly second.
So you don't want to see what was done to the property when he got it 8 years ago.
Hit the gavel, man.
Point of order. Motion was made. It was properly second. We can have discussion from the commission. And after discussion is had and the question is called, a vote must take place. Now, if Attorney Montgomery would like to talk, there are comment cards in the lobby. He can fill it out. And when the agenda calls for comments, we will entertain them at that time.
You can comment during general concerns, Ms. Montgomery, whether or not it's on the agenda.
Point of order, Mr. Mayor. We have made a motion. It has been seconded. It has been seconded.
I agree
We
with
discuss it and we call for the question. We make a vote after discussion. But entertaining comments from the audience is out of order, and I do know that the Attorney Montgomery would agree with that, along with my frat brother. He will agree with that.
Once
That's not in order.
once the motion is called, there's no more discussion until a vote on the motion.
Right. Call for question by the commission.
My take on the this 246 East Main Street. We have a contract, we have an agreement. Everyone knows when you sign an agreement, you go by the agreement. In there, it states that it's a commercial property only for Mr. Perez's business, not for residential. Not to go long talk, I will go with the first suggestion of our attorney to give Mr. Perez 30 days to correct the what they violated. After the 30 days, and my stance that we would not renew the lease as of July the 30th, that we would cancel the lease to with Mr. Perez. That's my stance on this.
And point of order, Mr. Mayor, if I may add, there was an appraiser from Callaway and Price Incorporated on March the 1st, 2017, addressed to Mr. Perez concerning an appraisal for a commercial office, warehouse, retail building located at the address of question, which states, I don't see anything regarding residential space. So I just thought I would put that out there as well.
And one more thing, Mayor, that I would like to, it doesn't take a rocket scientist. How do you sue your landlord? Okay, you in a building that the landlord rents to you, but you keep taking us to court. You keep suing the landlord. You can't keep doing business like that. That's not city business. So my thing is, so we don't have to keep going back through these lawsuits that the city of Pahokee cannot afford. We might as well do the 30 days, Mr. Attorney. That's be my direction. To do the 30 days to give Mr. Perez to correct the cry of the default with the insurance, and after the 30 days, but as of July the 30th, that we would cancel the lease.
Well, my recommendation was that if he doesn't comply in the 30 days, the lease terminates then. And then the lease terminates no matter what on July 30th because the city and Mr. Perez have not reached an agreement on price for the structure.
Call for additional questions. Hearing none, are you ready for vote? Roll call, Madam Clerk.
Commissioner Everett,
Yes.
Commissioner Hill,
Yes.
Commissioner Mervin,
Yes.
Commissioner
That's
Walker.
why I said I want to make sure. Go ahead.
This is for July 18th, right?
It's for both. He has to fix the things by 30 days or it terminates, and then it terminates on July 30th.
Mayor Bab,
Yes. Thank you, City Clerk. Thank you, Commissioners. The motion passes by unanimous vote. Now we're moving to old business. We don't have an old business. On the new business, we have the Palm Beach County Sheriff Office report.
Mayor, I don't have a report, but I have three quick things if I can. We're fastly approaching summer, and across the country right now, we are seeing a tremendous spike in auto burglaries. Not so much people stealing cars, but entering the cars and taking your personal items out, particularly those that can be used for opening up other bank accounts. Maybe you threw some junk mail in there that you got a credit card offer. A lot of your information is in there. The other piece is that they're taking the garage door openers that you may not notice is gone, and they'll come back later and enter through the garage. Don't be an opportunity crime person. Make sure you lock the cars. Take the personal information inside. Don't leave the checkbooks in the car. Don't leave the credit cards. You know, we're seeing them taking just loose change, so we know it's younger people that are doing these things, but there's a significant rise in it, and unfortunately, a lot of times when you're away, this happens, so you don't know the problem has happened for over a week, so it gives us no clues at all to be able to look for the particular person, especially if we do DNA or fingerprint analysis. The other thing is after the incident that occurred down south, whether it's your grandchildren, your children, you know, we encourage parents, enter their rooms, look at what they're doing on the computers. A lot of the kids are spending a lot of times on the video games, and when you think they're just playing the games, if they have the headset that is online, they're oftentimes communicating with adults in other places or people that are trying to indoctrinate them into the culture of ISIS and those kinds of things. You know, check what they're doing. I take my kid's phone. He doesn't have a passcode on it. I have a passcode. I want to see who he's texting. I want to know who he's talking to. Spend some time in those electronic devices and limit the time that they're on there. Very important, especially when we start seeing the stuff that they can get on the internet, and the dark web is real, very real. And the things that you can buy and purchase off the dark web without necessarily a credit card, but with crypto funds, can be done with these kids, especially when they start rewriting the programs. Have a conversation with the gentleman in the back. Brantley will tell you about this crypto stuff. It's real. It's going to take off, but they're using it for what it's not intended for. Lastly, Mayor and Commission, and I hope I don't mess your name up, sir, Mr. Martiello. When Mr. Martiello came up and started this project, you know, we often would watch him because we kind of thought there was something wrong with a guy who buy a funeral home and try to redo it. But needless to say, sir, I really want to say thank you, because what he did immediately that we noticed as community policing, he got some young men that were on the street and allowed them to come in and work with him on this project. And he paid those young men for their services. So it was a welcome sight to us that some of them that we constantly had conversations with about hanging on the corner, you took them in and gave them an opportunity to work and earn some money. So we appreciate it.
Thank you, Deputy. Yes, sir. Really? Okay. Thank you, sir. Now we'll move to the citizen comments, general concerns. Are there any comments card, Madam Clerk?
Yes, sir. Miss Natty Daly?
Hello, my name is Nettie R. Daly. I come from Pahokee. I moved in Pahokee 1960. And I've been running from alligators and snakes every time it rains. Every time it rains, it's flood out there where I live at. East Lake Village, 436 North Coconut Road. And they've been talking about they're gonna put better drain system. I ain't seen none out there since 1960 I moved here. And I would like to know when they're gonna put some drain system. And I just bought some new tires for my truck. And my truck is all out of balance because McClure Road done tore my truck up, and I want to know, y'all giving out checks, can I get one?
For the drainage, we have already secured funding for that. It's just a matter of time. And our city manager will give you kind of a time frame for that. For McClure Road, that's one of our top priorities as far as totally repaving, reconstruction that road. We actually had the funds, and we had to kind of transfer those over to Barfield Highway because it was a little more critical. That was a main entrance into our schools, into our health district area. So we're going to have our city manager just briefly kind of give you maybe a time frame when those two particular areas will be addressed.
Well, Mayor, you kind of summed it up for me. Thank you. East Lake Village.
Yes.
Last year, when we had Hurricane Irma, I was out there and I saw that community and how it was affected with Hurricane Irma. But fortunately, before Hurricane Irma had arrived, the state had already awarded the city, over $700,000 in stormwater improvement for that specific area. Some of the problems with East Lake Village, as you know, is it has two canals that connect. Some time ago in this city, they decided to cover up parts of that canal. Well, unfortunately, that didn't solve anything. What it allowed the water to do was to build back up in large rainstorms, so the water doesn't go anywhere. And so what the $700,000 would do is, one, we got to clean the canal out because we got refrigerators, tires, everything else in the canal, so it doesn't drain properly from that respect. Secondly, we're going to open the canal back up where it can connect with the canal at South Lake, on South Lake Boulevard to get the water out of the community. And then thirdly, we'll put some barriers around it because I believe one of the reasons why they enclosed it was because kids were falling into the canal. So we got to open that canal back up, let the water, recede from those areas around your home and your streets. So it's gonna take a while. But when I say a while, I mean we're working on actually the bid documents to put out for advertisement, and I project that by the time we get heavily into hurricane season, that we'll be well on our way to addressing your stormwater issue in that area. Now to McClure Road. McClure Road is on a special program from FDOT, Florida Department of Transportation. A year and a half ago, we did receive funds to address McClure Road specifically. As the mayor alluded, we had a more critical need at Barfield Highway, which subsequently will get addressed coming this summer. Now, we just applied for the funds for McClure Road. I think it's above $3.4 million for repair. That request will go, ironically, you're asking me this question because that request will go to the state tomorrow to request the funds to fix that highway. Now, once that happens, they don't rush out and repair the road right then and there. It's a process of waiting for the state to award those dollars. And so, it'll be several months before we hear back from FDOT whether we are awarded those funds to fix McClure Road. It's a process. As we know, that road has been in disrepair for quite some time, years actually. And so someone said 40 years. But so it's going to take some time, and we realize that there's a challenge out there with that road. The best we can do now, as that funding is being addressed and approved, is to try to do some patchwork. As you all know, when it rains, that patchwork gets worse. And so please bear with us. This is not an overnight fix. We realize that, but we have applied for the funds to repair McClure Road. And as I said, as far as your stormwater is concerned, that construction we are hoping will start here in the next 60 to 90 days. And by mid-season or hurricane season, we should be well on our way to addressing the flooding.
So when they do it, I get a check.
No, ma'am. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, we have
Are there any additional comments, Corey?
Miss Regina Bowen.
Good evening, Regina Boland, 115 East Main Street. I just wanted to say that, as the mayor said, on March 24th, we had I Love Pahokee Day. And I want to say thank you very much to our sponsors, especially to the city staff that worked with us. They did an awesome job. PBSO, we definitely could not have done it without them. Our exhibitors, my committee, everybody who came out, everybody who participated, we had a wonderful time. The kids seemed to have really had a good time. And I want to give a special thank you to the Easter Bunny. Yes. So, thank you very much. Come out and see us next year.
Are there any additional comment, Corey? Madam Clerk?
Yes, sir. Miss Sanquetta Cowan.
Good evening. Sanquetta Cowan, 1548 Singletary Avenue. I just wanted to make an announcement and inform the public. I am the SAC chair for the high school. And it came up for a vote that to name the football field after Don Thompson. Well, the committee decided not to vote on that because we thought it was important to let the community know what's taking place and that the city officials should know. So I said to the principal, we would like for you to come to the city commission meeting because it's live stream so that the community can know when we're trying to make these type of changes so that they can have some involvement as well, because they may have someone that they want to nominate for us to vote on. So I just wanted to make the community aware that this is coming up for a vote at our SAC meeting. And if you have anybody or know anyone that from the community, come out to the SAC meetings to hear, to see what's going on, because we're making decisions in the about this that's taking place in the city as well, and decisions about what's taking place at the school. So I'm just asking that I wanted to make you all aware of that as well.
What's the date?
And it's the 4th Monday of every month at 6 o'clock. The next meeting, we're going to be at the middle school in the media center, and that's in April. So we let the principal know, but he's not here tonight, and I didn't want another month to go by, and the public wasn't aware of it. Also, my next comment is, I know we said we're trying to improve the city, and I appreciate that, but I have a question. The old theater that was purchased, we saying we want to bring businesses to Pahokee. We've sold a lot of our land. Are we trying to contact the people that we bought this land to and it's just sitting there? When we have a theater that's sitting here in Pahokee, and we're saying that we got to go to Wellington, do we know who owned that building so we can get in touch with that person to see what are they going to do about putting a business, putting a theater back here in the city of Pahokee? We're saying we're going on the coast, but we have things right here, and we've sold the land, and nothing is happening to the land. We have apartments uptown. We're saying we need a housing. Are we getting in touch with any of these people that own these apartments, houses, that we can ask them and have them to do something about it? That's just, if you can look into that for me and get back with me. I'll put my number on the card, because I think when you all like to have a movie theater, we have a building here. So We're saying we want to improve our city. We're selling our property, but what are we doing with it when we're selling it to these people? They're telling us, or what are they telling us they're going to do? Thank you.
Thank you. Are there any additional comment cards? Thank you for those comments from the residents. We'll now move into the correspondent comments, concerns of the City Commission. I will give this honor for the first comments to our newly elected Commissioner Everett.
I want to say good evening to the citizens that are present, and also to the citizens that are viewing via the internet. I would like to say that I consider this a high honor to serve a city and a community in which I was born and reared in. I also want to say thank you to those citizens that thought enough of me, that believed in me, to elect me as city commissioner. Even to those that did not support me via the vote, I want to say it's my desire that we can come together, as that shirt alluded, that we can be Pahokee United. That we may not always agree, and sometimes we may sit on separate and different aisles, that we can come together for the betterment and the improvement of our city. Even to those candidates that sought election but did not win, we invite those individuals to pull together, to work along with us, to ensure that our city, the Grassy Water Gateway to Lake Okeechobee, can be a city and a community of choice. I'm just delighted, and I also want to say this because I didn't get here alone, and I didn't get here by myself. And I want to say thank you to my parents, my father, and namesake, and to my very beautiful mother, who just had a birthday. Boy, that woman looked good to be almost 60, don't she? I just want to say thank you to our family and friends, members of the church that I'm privileged to pastor, Shallow Missionary Baptist Church, who thought it not robbery, got a deacon out in the crowd, and others who thought it not robbery to come and support me at this auspicious occasion. It's touching because that Bible my mother held was the Bible of my grandmother, who grew up in a town adjacent here. It was once called Azuka, and then it later was called Bryant. That is no longer, no more. But her presence is definitely here with us tonight. That's the very Bible she was reading when she met her demise. So I just want to say thank you. Thank you, thank you. A concern that I would like to make, Mr. Mayor, if I'm in order, City Manager, for consideration, comment cards. In order that we run a professional and decent meeting, I feel that comment cards should be filled out at the beginning of the meeting, submitted to the city clerk for consideration to be called. But we need to change the way we're doing business, my opinion, than having people sporadically at whim pop up to fill out comment cards because it was something they may have heard that they necessarily didn't agree with or like. If your city is important enough to comment, it's important enough to be on time, turn in your card, and you be recognized then. And we also may need to also articulate the protocol behind comments. You make a comment, but you don't necessarily get an answer immediately because staff may need time to consider and research before giving an answer, because we don't want to be indicted for communicating fallacies.
Thank you, Commissioner Evans. We're going to turn this portion over to our newly elected Commissioner, Commissioner Hill.
Okay, thank you. You would do that. First of all, I want to thank all of my supporters. I've been here for about, 8 years now, and 6 years. I'm getting ready to do another 3 years. I take a lot of constructive criticism from citizens. I take a lot of heat from, quite a few citizens, but I do have a lot of good old school supporters out there that keep me strong mentally and emotionally. I do want to thank those two voters that went on and pushed me over that finish line. Those 3 voters that went on and pushed me over that finish line. I meant through all the adversity and all the things that I've gone through. It's like for some reason it feels different now. All before, it was a bittersweet moment for me through all the other years I've been up here, because there were things that I was I couldn't do certain things or say certain things. So now I can speak my mind. I can speak exactly the things that I truly, want for this city. And I'm sure that my supporters, and as well as others, do know that I want what's best for this city. I feel that either way it goes, I don't care what, if you just continue to do what's right and you stay on that road, that righteousness road, you will be okay. If you just look at it and you just say, I'm here for the betterment of this city, no matter what the others say yes to or no to, you just vote. Do it from your heart and you keep it moving. I want my supporters to know, as well as the people that did not support me, I want us to get more involved. I mean, even with some of the commissioners, even, people don't understand that we have jobs while we're doing this. So, some of us, we're not as visible as others, but trust and believe we're working hard. And I'm one of those commissioners that's in a situation as such. I want to let you guys know I just love you so much. We're not here because we're trying to, you just can't be here for that. We don't get paid enough for that. So at some point in time, you got to know that we're here and we're doing it from the heart. You got to know that. If you knew, but that's why now I want to get with Chandler and I want to do like a government one-on-one. I really want the citizens to have a better understanding of how this government is running. It's not just one commissioner doing it. It takes the whole commission, including the city manager, including the city attorney. It takes all of us to move this city forward. So again, I would say hashtag, let's continue moving our city forward. I love you guys. And I want to also thank who hardly ever attend. That's who's taking up all the seat. I got to be honest, guys. This is my family. And I want my family to stand up. I don't care what anybody say, because I know they won't be back. And I want to thank them for attending. I want to thank them for attending. And I want to let them know that I love them. And I want to also let my mother know that I love her. She's that one that sits in the window. Every time after Tuesday night I go home, that's who I would go over and talk to. Trust and believe, my dad is deceased now, but trust and believe, that's my bone, that's my backbone, that's my heart. That's what keeps me together, I swear. And I love you guys to death. I really do.
Thank you, Commissioner Hill. Next, we'll have Commissioner Walker for any comments or concerns she has.
Okay.
Love you too. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Good night, everyone.
Thank you. Thank you, Commissioner Walker. Last but not least, Commissioner Mervyn.
First of all, I would like to say congratulations to Commissioner Hill.
Thank you.
Our newly elected Commissioner Everett.
Thank you.
Welcome. Welcome. I also would like to thank the audience, the citizens, for coming out. And come again. Come and be informed on what's going on in your city. Not just for this. Come out. Come every second and fourth Tuesday to your city commission meeting. I also would like to, he didn't know I was gonna do this tonight, but since he was here, well, two people I'd like to see. First, Mr. Alfonso Smith. The reason why I'm pointing him out is the other night, I think we were leaving commission meeting, and he has a football training with the kids. And I know I asked him, well, my kids, I said, what's going on is that, he said he's training kids for football. And it's not only just training them with the football, he's instilling leadership roles into them. Alfonso, come up so they can see you. And he's also an ex-NFL player. So his skills that he's instilling into our younger kids, which is awesome. And I appreciate you for that, because that also will help our kids and it will deter them from going the wrong way to go the right way. So I thank you. I thank you for that. Also, I would like to thank Mr. Lambert for being here to stand up, Mr. Lambert, so they will know who you are. That's Everglades Reserve Holding. That's Mr. Robert Lambert. And I appreciate you, Mr. Lambert, for wanting to invest into our city. I appreciate you, and I thank you for that. Also, on April the 6th, I will be doing a sleep out, a homeless sleep out. We know there's a big problem with homelessness. So I'm going to put myself out there, and I'm going to go sleep outside. And yes, it's a big event. There's a yearly event on April the 6th that they have over in West Palm, and they say it's over thousands of people bees out there. Now you have lawyers, doctors, everywhere from all walks of life, and just to raise money for the homeless. So on April the 6th, pray for them, because I ain't never slept outside before. So, but I'm gonna on April the 6th, I will be over in Revere Beach doing a sleep out for the homeless. And that will be it, and good night.
Again, thank you for coming. Meeting adjourned.
How long?
It's just one day?
Oh, thank you, sir.